Hey guys, it's Grant Balfour here, ex-pitcher of the Tampa Bay Rays, Oakland Athletics, Minnesota Twins, Milwaukee Brewers, Cincinnati Reds. I just wanted to say you're watching MattieC Sports for You and Me podcast. Enjoy the show. Mattie's got a lot of great things to talk about, wide range of sports. Get on there. Hope to see you guys soon on the show. All right, guys. Take care.
On this team, we fight for that inch. On this team, we tear ourselves and everyone else around us to pieces for that inch.
Coming in at 320 kilobytes per second, it's time for MattieC Sports for you and me.
All right, everybody, MattieC Sports for you and me. I have a very special guest, a guy who I idolized back in the day, 2004. So when I first started, this guy was on the Contender. This guy's right down the street, down in Rhode Island. Give it up for the pride of Providence, Mr. Peter Manfredo Jr. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you for the announcement. Appreciate it.
It's just like I said, it's not like I'm starstruck, but it's just an honor for you to be on my show. And, you know, growing up, it's like, you know, like out of today, would I ever meet Peter Manfredo Jr.? I just had to, you know, get a connection just to talk to you. And then it ended up working out. And I'm like, I'm talking to one of my idols. Cause I mean, you're right next door down in Rhode Island. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's like having like a Mickey Ward type of deal. Like, you know, I think you're more humble. You know, I think you grinded your way to where you are now and got nothing but respect for you, brother.
Well, I appreciate it. I think, you know, I think the people with the fame and the fortune and maybe get to their head a little bit, we're all the same. I'm no different from anybody else, you know, so that's why I'm as humble as I am. I had a talent, which God bless me. We all have a talent that God bless us with. We just got to find it. And, you know, mine was boxing. I turned professional because I met my wife in high school. And, you know, I just wanted to do enough to, you know, buy a house, or if we started a family, to have money for that. So I turned professional and my career blew up. You know, I didn't even expect it to blow up where it went, but it did. And, you know, I'm very proud of what I did, and I'm very fortunate. And, you know, I fought the best fighters in the world. I only lost to the best, you know, and I can hold my head high today because I never beat anybody out of money, or I was always good to people, and good things happen to good people and bad things happen to bad people. So, you know, you asked me to be on the show, and I was honored to be on the show for you.
Well, I appreciate that, man. And, you know, like I said, like, who knew I was going to talk to a guy who I watched from the Contender Series till pretty much your final fight in 2016. So it's a definite honor to have you on the show. And, you know, there's so many different fighters you fought, and, you know, you fought Julio Chavez. I mean, shit,
Yep.
Like, this guy was unreal. You had Angel Hernandez, where you got the IBO title. And, you know, the list just goes on. I mean, Jeff Lacey, and Joe Calzaghe, and, you know, Sergio Mora.
Sakio Bika, Sergio Mora. Alfonso Gomez. There's a lot of good names on the resume,
Yeah. And Sergio Mora, I think you won that fight, the final fight.
The
I
second
do.
fight, the first fight he got me, but the second fight I definitely won the rematch. But it is what it is. There's always going to be arguable. He never wanted to do a third fight. So it is what it is. But he definitely, I give him the edge in the first fight. But then when in the second fight, I definitely beat him. I definitely pulled it out. I don't care what the judges say. Anybody that sees the fight, they know that I won the fight.
And I was one of those people who saw that shit.
Yeah, well,
and
I appreciate it. So, I mean, the truth always comes out in the end. So it is what it is. But congratulations to Sergio. He did well in his career. I have nothing but respect for him. Boxing's a tough sport. It's only one-on-one, and it's a tough way to make a living for your family. So I have nothing but respect for the people that get in there and actually do that. So like I said, Sergio, he did well in his career. He won a world title. He beat Vernon Forrest, and he had a great career. So nothing but respect. But I did win the second fight, and he knows
yes,
that.
you did.
But
For sure.
he knows that. But we're friends. If I see him, we give him a hug, and we go on about our business. But it is what it is. The truth always comes out in the end, like I said.
And that's definitely a class act on your part. Some just kind of like, whatever. But like you said, you hug it out, and how you doing type of thing. And that's real. That's a good thing. And Alfonso too. You two are the ones I respected on that show. I loved it. You guys were both like good people on that show. Alfonso was just a happy dude on that show. Like I never seen that dude pissed off on that show.
No, nothing but hot. Both of us. He had nothing but hot. He fought with his heart, and so didn't I.
It was great because you came out of the contender, and then you came back, and like me and my boy were like, oh shit, man, Fredo's back. He's coming back on the show. Fucking right. And that we knew that you were definitely a person to come back on that show. So I'm glad it did, and I'm glad your career hit off after that. So I mean, it was really cool. And how was Sly Stallone when you were with him during that time?
He was cool. I mean, we weren't with him all the time. I mean, he would make appearances here on the show because the show was basically about the fighters. They wanted to get the story on the fighters. So Stallone would just come in from time to time because he didn't want to take the spotlight off the fighters. But when he was around us, it was cool. He was cool. He would tell us stories, whatever we wanted to hear, and then he'd pop back out. But I just thought he was, because I was a fan of Stallone's. I watched all his movies, Rocky, Lock Up, all these movies, so I was kind of starstruck when I seen him. But like he was just a good guy, so I had nothing but respect, and all the fighters did had nothing but respect, and he treated us the same, with nothing but respect for us guys. So we had a friendship, a partnership.
And the funny thing is that mainly during that time, you would always see him in whatever fight was happening on HBO or Showtime. You'd see him straight in front of like all the fighters, like sitting in the row. Sly Stallone was like a fixture at every fight, just sitting there. You know what I mean? Like he was just in the same exact spot, no matter what arena it was. It was just funny seeing him. A lot of those fights, so I thought it was funny.
He loves the fight scene. He's a big fight fan, which is great.
Oh yeah. And for you, going off to another subject, when you fought Angel Hernandez and you got that title, like what was that feeling, just putting that belt around your waist?
It was a great feeling because it was something you dream about since you're a little kid. This is why you turn professional, and this is why you become a fighter, is to be on top one day, and that was my moment that you've been waiting for your whole life, because I like you said, I tried it with Kawasaki, it didn't work out. I tried it with Saki Obika, it didn't work out. And then once I tried it with him, it worked out for me. That was my night. And you know, I hugged my wife. She was the first one I hugged. I got a picture of me hugging her, and I said, "We did it, baby. We made it. And that was it. I accomplished my goal, and that's like we all try to do in life. We try to get to the highest point of whatever we're doing in life. And to me, that was my highest point. That I won the world title.
And that was such a cool thing, man. And with Baca, with those guys that you fought, those guys are warriors in the ring, such as you too. I mean, and it's not like you were fighting like any scrubs or anything like that. You were fighting legit prize fighters, and you were hitting them good. Like, if you came into the Calzaghe fight, like, and just was like, you had some great shots in that fight, like, and I like I said to you before, like, that fight should have kept going. I don't give a shit what was going. It was just the ref I thought was terrible throughout the fight. And, I didn't like how Calzaghe was, he was, hammer and punching, I thought that was a little bit of bullshit. And, it is what it is now, like you said, but, at the time, us as fans, I'm sure you had the big fans in Providence, and you had fans around the New England area, and we're going, what the fuck? Why is this guy why are they letting him do this shit? And you're fighting fair, and you're going at him. You're not backing down from Calzaghe. You don't give a fuck what his repertoire is, and I think at the time you were 26-3. So that's not a like a record to be messed with. So, and I mean, it's probably not fun fighting in front of 35,000 people screaming his fucking name.
Well, you're in the zone anyway. Like, so you block a lot of that out. You're just so focused on what you have to do when you fight. It's like, I don't know, like the football players call it tunnel vision. So I guess I could use that term. If people feel comfortable with that, it's kind of like tunnel vision, where you can't hear the crowd as much as like you can, because you're so focused, and like I said, tunnel vision. You're just so focused on what you have to do and what you have to accomplish. You block a lot of that out. So yeah, but it's still it's great. I just want to say one thing about Joe Calzaghe. He might go down as one of the best super middleweights to ever put on a pair of gloves. I mean, he's an undefeated guy. He's never lost a fight, and I have nothing but respect for him. As far as me and him and our fight, was it unfair? I would say it was unfair. Would I have beaten him? Probably not. He's the best. Like I said, he's probably one of the best fighters to ever put on the gloves at 168. And I have nothing but respect for him. But like you said, our fight wasn't really a fight because it got stopped. It's not fair to the fans. That's what bothered me, because I'm a fighter that fights for the fans. People work hard for their money. So when you're paying like $50, $150, $200 for a front row seat, and then the referee stops the fight after 3 rounds of BS, now what happens to the guy who paid $200? They work hard like you do and I do. I go to work every day and I work hard for my money. I want to see a fight. Let the guy beat me. Let the guy knock me out. Let him do. That's what I signed up for. Let me fight. So that was my problem in the fight. I feel bad for the people that got robbed of their money, because it wasn't a fight. I wasn't hurt. I was fine. I was just I didn't understand it. But I think, like I said, I think the whole thing is I was his key to coming to America. I was his breakthrough. And they used it to what they can use it for. But taking nothing away from Joe Calzaghe, it's not his fault. He did what he had to do.
Yeah. And your face right now literally is the same face you had right when you're on the ropes. You had no black eye. You had no damage. Like, you even said to me, there was no damage to you at all. And right. I thought it was true, because I was watching it on HBO, probably just like all your fans. We're watching it on HBO and we're pissed because this fight ended in a bullshit way. And, it didn't cost you your career or anything, but I think it gained you a little bit more let's say, motivation and stuff like that. And
I,
you know, you
yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no big deal. I just think like it wasn't over per se. Like you still fought in good places. You still took care of work. And I mean, like, I love that you were a local fighter around here because like it was feasible to go to Foxwoods. It was feasible to go to Mohegan, you know, and still see. I was like, and you know, my dad would take me and stuff like that, and you know, I'd still see you fight. You know, like you're literally the next state over again. So it's like you're definitely the pride of not just Providence, but also around the New England area. That's how I felt.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
And you
And,
know,
and that's why I did it, you know.
yeah,
And that's why I fought.
And it was great because like you didn't give a shit who you fought, and you fought with pride. Like you know, you don't need the pride of Providence. It's pride for you, you know, and you showed that.
And that, you know, what's funny is I never had a name. All the names I've had, like the Italian Warrior I wear on my trunks, IW, the Pride of Providence, that was all names given to me because I've earned them. You know, someone once called me the Pride of Providence. You're the Pride of Providence, kid. You should call yourself the Pride of. So, you know, that's when that name came about. Because they asked me on the Contender, do you have a name? I says no. He says, well, because the announcer, they want to announce you as something. I says, well, they used to call me the Pride of Providence. They called me that one time. So that's why that flew on the show. And then when I was on the show, then I beat I fought Sergio, I fought Alfonso, I beat him, I beat Miguel Espino. And then Sergio Mora mentioned, he says, you know what, him and his father, they're nothing but Italian warriors. And that's how that name came about. Italian Warrior. I said, oh, that's a good one. I wear the IW on my shorts. So as my career went on, that's when those names developed. You know.
And yeah, and you had some badass trunks, man. I have to say.
Yeah,
it wasn't just a straight Everlast like blue or black or white type of deal. You had to make it known.
Yeah, it was kind of like I took it from like, because the Italian Warrior whole thing came about, and then I was like warrior, that like the old gladiators from the Roman days, how they wore like those kind of kilts or whatever. So I designed something like that, and I wore that just to go with the IW and all that.
That's
and plus
it. And
it was different too, right? It was different from everybody else.
Right. And now everybody's like, holy shit, man. Some of the boxers, man, got the ugliest fucking shit I've ever seen. Like like it looks like a Toyota Camry, like maroon or something, man. They just don't have a good choice in style, man. But that's a whole nother topic. But you know, the other thing is that you had Emmanuel Stewart, sorry. You had Freddie Roach as a trainer. Now,
right.
That was another thing we were saying, like, you know, Freddie Roach is one of the best trainers, if not the best trainer in the world. He's managed Pacquiao, he's managed you. The list goes on. And he piles up more and more, you know.
Right.
And you know, that during that, I keep going back to the Calzaghe, and I'm sorry, but that time he couldn't go to your fight because he was training De La Hoya, correct?
Right, correct.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you had him consistently, I mean, do you feel like if you had Freddie Roach and nothing against your father, but like if you had him in your corner, that fight, you think the result would have been different?
No, not for that fight. I think my career would have been a lot different if I kept going back to him, though. If once I left my father, I should have stayed away from him. That's my downfall now looking back. But I'm such a family-oriented guy, and that was my dad, and you know, all my family is his family. His mom, which is my grandmother, I talk to every day. That's your father. Take your father back, and all that. So, my father, I should have never took him back, but I took him back. And after Freddie kind of like didn't go with me to Wales to fight Calzaghe, I kind of didn't go back there anymore. I stayed back home with my dad. And then my career, it went good for a little while. Then it started going back to where I was before I went to Freddie. Back like my father used to train me, because we're all products of our environment.
Mhm.
You understand? All in
Right.
life, besides even boxing, just in life, we're all products of our environment. So my father's not a great trainer. He's a fair trainer. He gets everybody beat up and knocked out eventually at a certain level. He's a good trainer, but he's not a great trainer. And my career ended, my style went back to where I was before I left him. I mean, yeah. And if we're looking back now on my career, once I left my father, I should have stayed away, and I should have stayed with Freddie or someone else, or just stay away from my father. And I just think I would have made a father, or did better things. But that's, I can't cry. It's spilled milk now. I can't cry over it. You live and you learn. I learned off that, and I still had a great career. I still had a great run. So I don't have nothing to feel sorry about with my career. I just would have did the things differently, looking back at it now.
I mean, shit, man. You had 42 wins and 7 losses. That's an amazing career. That ain't Peanuts' career, And it wasn't like you were fighting like in nothing against fighters that do this, but you weren't fighting in like a Legion or a VFW. Like you were fighting like at the dunk. You were fighting, like I said, Mohegan. You fought over in Wales. You fought in Canada. You fought everywhere in boxing, in the boxing world. You fought in MGM. So it's like the accolades, like I said, you have are like absolutely crazy and amazing. Not a lot of people can do that. Not a lot of boxers can do that. And I've learned from other boxers that you can't just jump in as an amateur and have one fight and then jump pro. Like you need to earn your shit.
Right.
So I mean,
the amateurs and the pros are two different things. You know what I mean? It's tough. Some amateurs can be great amateurs. Like I don't want to give any names, but we had a great amateur Olympian here, and he turned professionally, and he didn't make it where he like he did in the amateurs. And then me, I wasn't a great amateur, but I was always had a better pro style, and I blew up in the pros. So it's two different kind of things, the amateurs and the pros. Some people can't adjust and make that adjustment.
And for you, I mean, you mainly the people of Providence, they love you, man. Like, and I saw it in your career, and I remember the dunk rocking, and that's not a big arena, but it was big when you fought.
Oh, there was 11,000 people there that night when I fought Pemberton.
Yeah, right.
That place was rocking. That place was rocking. And even when I fought Spina, there was about 8,000 people, which that was rocking too. It wasn't as many as Pemberton, but 8,000 is still nothing to hang your head over. That's still a lot of people.
Yeah, that's not a joke at all. And Twin River, I mean, it's okay. I mean, it's a small venue, but
small venue, but I always pack it out. We sell it out every time we fight there. So, I mean, listen, I do the best I can, but I got great fans too. Like I said, people like to see me fight because I'm a good kid. I go to work every day. I'm humble, and people like that. I can relate to other people. I can relate to the working man, and people want to see that. People want to see me succeed. I'm not a punk. I'm not cocky. I respect everybody I fight, because anybody that gets in there, you got to give them respect. They're doing it to make a living, just like I am. So. And it does.
Are you? Oh no, go ahead.
No, go ahead. It doesn't matter. How? I mean, I forgot what I was going to say.
Yeah, that's all right. For me, like, do you still feel part of the boxing world? Like, do you go to like different events and different shows and stuff like that anymore?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. I just did, because there was a kid from Italy that fought down here on Jimmy Birchfield's card. He was having
CES.
Yes, he had a CES card in
Yep.
Warwick, and he asked me to come down. I said definitely. So I went down. I watched the kid from Italy fight. He was the first fight. And then I had to come back home because I had to pick my daughter up. She works at Target down the street in my house, so I had to go pick her up. So, but I got to stop in and see him, say hello, and that kid had nothing but respect for him. You know, he was calling me champ. It was an honor. Thank you for coming to see me fight. You know, so you know it's great that other fighters know who I am and look up to you too. You know, it's pretty cool.
And I love the MMA and boxing world. Like you said, like we just talk about CS. Like they welcome you in there, like media. They treat you like family. The senior invited me to Longmeadow to go, you know, eat at his Italian restaurant. You know, like boxing is like I realized it, and I never knew. Like boxing, it's like a family. Like everybody's a family, it seems. Like they come together and they, you know, there's not really a lot of like talking shit unless, you know, and well, it's great.
You get that very, very few, but most of us, like you said, well, it's like a family. It's a community. Yeah.
And it's funny because I just interviewed one of their fighters who's fighting tomorrow. He's fighting CES in Connecticut, the convention center in Hartford. So like, it doesn't matter. Like they're the nicest people, man. Like they'll interview and they're humble and they're good people. And CES is a good in promotion, you know, a lot of good people in there, junior, senior, things like that. And even from the media standpoint. So like I said, boxing's a family, MMA's a family. So it's just minor junk sometimes about talking shit, but it's nothing big. It's not like it's not like it used to be, and I respect that. So outside of like, so what do you do? Like outside of boxing, like are you happier now? Like just like you don't have to be concentrated on boxing anymore. Like you are a family man now, and you know that's more important than boxing, obviously, because you said it already before.
Well, I mean, I did boxing for that, so I can't. I mean, I go to work every day now. Like I go to work with a smile on my face because I can eat at 9 o'clock, I can eat at 12. I don't have to worry about my weight every day. You know, that's a good thing. I don't have to go to the gym after work and then get home at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night. I'm home right after work. You know, I get to spend some time with my family, my kids, eat dinner, watch the nightly news, and then go to bed. You know, it's a routine with me every day. Just like boxing was a routine. You know, you get up, you do your running, you come back, you rest, you got to eat properly. Then you go back to the gym at night. It was a routine, you know, and you get accustomed to that routine. Now I'm just accustomed to this routine, being a family guy. But you know, is my son playing basketball tonight? Is he in track? Do I got to watch his track meet? What time is it? I got to make it there. You know, I can't work overtime, so it's just a different lifestyle. But still the same still committed like I was in boxing. You know, just in life now.
And I got a lot of respect for that, man. I mean, I have a 3.5-year-old. She's like my world, man. And, you know, that's what I do. Go to work, and it's all because of her. And for me, it's like what I can do for my child and my family is what is all about. Family first. And that should always be everybody's type of thing.
Well, that's what makes a man. That's a real man. You know, a real man is a man who could take care of his family. Anybody can make a baby. You know, but it takes a real man to raise them.
That's right.
You know, and that's what they're gonna remember. And that's what they're gonna remember one day. Your kids, not the money you spend on them, not what you bought them for Christmas. It's not about that stuff. It's about, was my father there for me? Did he come to my games? Did he let me do what I wanted to do? That's what they're gonna remember.
Yeah, exactly. So Peter, like what's in it for you now? Like what's the future hold for you?
For me, I don't know. I get up every day. I go to work. Like I said, I get home. I see what the kids want to eat for dinner. see what the wife wants. We have dinner. I take a shower. You know, I watch the nightly news, and I'm in bed at 7. I'm up at 3 o'clock every morning. I go to work in Boston every day. I work for the laborers union.
Good for you, man. And
I work for a company called Lee Kennedy. They're out of Quincy, Mass, but I'm out of 271 out of Providence, Rhode Island, the laborers union. I hooked up with this company about 10 years ago, and I travel to Boston every day. I never take a day out. If they need me to stay late, I stay late. I'm always on time, and that's it. That's why I got a job.
Again, right next door, my hometown, Weymouth, right next door, and right in Quincy, right there. So
There you go.
A lot of respect, man. So, Peter, thank you so much for joining the show, man. And
You're
it's
welcome.
an honor again for you to be on the show, and hope to see you again. And maybe I'll see you at CES, maybe something else. But again, I totally respect your career, all you did for the sport, and all you've done for me. Like, seeing you throughout your career, I got nothing but respect for you, man. And I'm glad that, you know, you turned into a family man and just a regular blue collar guy. So I really respect you, man.
I appreciate that. But we'll just correction one thing. I don't think you could turn into that. I either think you have that in you or you don't. It's either you are a family man or you're not. It's just like being a good person. You either are a good person or you're not. You know, so it's just something that's just in me. You know, I just a good person. I'm a provider. That's my job. So, but yeah, anytime you want me on, buddy, it's my pleasure. I'll come on anytime you want me to be on.
Absolutely, and love to have you on. So
All right,
thanks. So thanks again, and we'll talk to you.
All right, champ. Have a good night.
Hey, you're the
God
champ,
bless,
not me.
man. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, you too.
Thanks for watching MattieC Sports for you and me. Make sure to follow Matty Cameron on Twitter at MattCameron23, or follow him on Instagram at MattieC23, or subscribe to his YouTube channel, MattieC Sports for you and me. Once again, thanks for watching.